Hello, everybody. This is Stacy Turner with our DMOpro Zoom. We're so glad that you're here and just thankful that you're all with us this morning. Hope you guys had a great weekend. I was watching a training. It was a sales training Zoom, or not a Zoom. It must have been like a reel or something. It was on social media, and I thought it was really great. And I wasn't able to get through to the longer message or the longer training that this lady was doing, but she was talking about using inflection in your voice and being careful with that, especially on a sales call or a sales discussion. Um, or, I mean, it really can fit a lot of areas of life, but she said if you have a question inflection at the end of your sentence, it just shows that you're lacking confidence and you don't really believe that it's a great deal. So we'll just use price point as one example, but I think as we talk, we'll have other areas that would, impact in our life. But if somebody says, so how much does Juice Plus cost? They asked a question, right? My voice changed at the end. How much does Juice Plus cost? And you can hear the question. So if I answer in a question, why am I questioning the price, right? So if I say, oh, it's great. It's 83 a month. Do you hear the difference? And if I said, it's $80 a month for you, and then it's $3 shipping for your child's free portion. So you can state it or you can ask it again. If you ask the answer, if your answer is another ask, another question, just with that inflection, not the words don't change, but just the inflection, you're inviting doubt into the conversation. So it's your doubt that shows up and then it invites more doubt to the person that you're speaking to. So when they say, so why do I have to order 4 months at a time? And you answer back, oh, that's because it takes 120 days for your red blood cells to replace, and that's about a 4 month supply. Or if I said, well, I mean, it's a 4 month supply, and it's that's how long it takes for your red blood cells to replace. And like it's slight. Do you guys hear the difference? It's just barely there. And so it's something I just thought, man, that's an easy correct if it's something that we start to notice. You'll probably start to hear it in other people first. You'll hear them with that inflection in their voice, but I want us to obviously look at our own voice. I'm curious, have you guys ever heard somebody else do that in life? And then you stop and wonder, like, why'd they just ask me that question? That was supposed to, I asked them the question. Or have you ever found yourself doing that? I would say price point is probably the one I used to get stuck on the most if somebody asked. So it's typically going to show up in an objection. What are you guys' thoughts on this? Have you ever experienced that yourself, or have you noticed it?
Stacy, I hear a lack of confidence with your reply when you have that inflection in there. I feel like it changes the kind of the energy, but just the tone of your confidence.
Yeah. And then how does that reflect on the person that hears the answer?
They probably don't have confidence in what you're selling.
Yeah, it kind of takes their confidence down too, right? It doesn't kind of, it does. It does take their confidence down, um, for sure. So, yeah. Anyone else want to add anything to that?
Stacy, I think it's just as subtle on the receiving end as the giving end. I don't think most people say, why did she ask me that question? I think they just don't buy your answer. They don't really know why they don't buy your answer, right? But it just doesn't fly. Must
That's
not be
so
for
true.
me today.
Yeah, you're right. It's so subtle. it just throws it off just enough that they don't even know why or couldn't even explain why. So I think that's important, Tap. What if you're answering questions all day with that little bit of doubt, that little bit of question inflection at the end of your statements? You know, all of those little subtle tone changes add up to probably a bigger self-doubt and questioning than you realize. Have you guys, what other questions? I mentioned price point, maybe shipping, like how does this work? How do I ship this? What other questions have you guys found that kind of comes up that maybe you get kind of stuck on, or you feel a little bit insecure or not confident that that inflection might happen?
Is this an MLM?
Okay, yeah, that's a good. A lot of times they don't even know to ask if this is MLM. They'll say, is this one of those pyramid things?
Yeah, same difference.
Yeah, right. And you're like,
Hey, no, by the way, we used to be in 1994, we changed.
that's what your answer is?
Yeah.
So,
We did used to be MLM, and our comp plan totally is not MLM oriented now. Not in the way people think of MLM, not in the way we used to be.
yeah,
Right.
yeah. So, your confidence, that answer back is really going to mean something to them. When they tell me, is this an MLM? I'll ask them, maybe for some clarifying question, because what if they are interested in MLM? What if they are looking for a company that has a network of people? So I'll say, can you give me a little bit more detail on that? Like what, give me some more, like when you say MLM, what does that mean to you? And then I can get some clarifying answers to them. Most of the time they'll say, is this one of those, if they say, is this one of those pyramid schemes? I just kind of chuckle and I'll say, no, pyramid schemes are illegal. They have been for decades now. I think you'll be happy that it's not, but it sounds like maybe you've had some experience with maybe some sort of similar company. Can you give me a little bit more detail on that? What was that like for you, or what's your experience in it? And a lot of times they're like, oh, my mom sold whatever and she had all this stuff around the house, and and they never made any money, and so, or they don't have an answer to it. So if you ask another question, it's okay to ask a clarifying question. You just don't want your answer that's supposed to be a statement sound like a question at the end where your inflection of your voice goes up. What you got, Marcia?
Well, I love to put a little space when they ask me one of those questions that can be tricky or, whatever. I like to put a little space between their question and my real answer. And that is to say something like, I love that you asked that question. I love that you said, or something like that. If it's about price point, I say that is my favorite part. I'll say something emphatic like that. That first of all, will put a little space between their question and my real answer, and it just does something to my confidence about what I'm about to say too. When I say something, and I've trained my team to say that be their first thing out of their mouth about price point. That's my favorite part. And I learned that probably too late, but because it took me a while. I really did think back in the day it was expensive, but when I teach that if you get to the place where you can say with confidence, that's my favorite part, then you have arrived. Price will never be an issue again. And people typically don't even ask me that anymore. I don't know why that is. I don't know if anybody else has that experience, but I've trained my team that way.
That's so true, Marcia. I rarely get asked that question anymore. Um, or that, like, that objection just doesn't come up in conversation quite as much. So when you say you want to get your team to where they can confidently say, that's the best part, or that's my favorite part, what are some of the things that you might work with them to get them to that point? Is it like working on their story, collecting other people's stories? How do you work with them in that?
Well, I do that. And I have learned in 12 years that your confidence in all of these answers boils down to one thing, and that's belief. And if you can believe first of all, in the product, and the way I have been doing that, and not well enough probably, but I remember myself, I'll just tell my story. So when I went and I said yes to Juice Plus, the same night I said yes to the business, not because I thought I was gonna make a business out of it. I had no intention of that. I wanted the best price, and I had a couple of people in my mind that I wanted to share with. But when I left that meeting 12 years ago, Nina Radcliffe gave me 2 CDs, and she said, listen to these. And I did. I put those CDs in my car. We don't even do that anymore. I don't have a CD player in my car anymore, but I listened to those CDs over and over, and I realized it built my belief in this product. And it over time, it just made me bulletproof about the product, no matter my story. But then, of course, I had my story to go with it. But if they believe in the product, then that is the foundation of believing that it's not expensive. I'm worth it. They're worth it. The person you're talking to is worth it. And if you can show that value, people buy what they value. They will find a way to purchase what they value. And if you can build value, then it's done. It's a done deal.
So,
that was a lot of words. Sorry.
No, that is perfect. Marcia, you're exactly right. It is belief. And so if it's belief, what you're saying that night, what changed for you when she sent you home with those CDs? I mean, we can play it in the car. Now we can connect our, Bluetooth to the car, right? Sending them with that. So education, information built that belief, right? So when you understand more about the product and you understand, wait, this isn't a vitamin, it is food. So if I'm going to compare it to food prices, heck, how could I ever get all of these fruits and vegetables for the price? Like, there's no way I could do that outside of Juice Plus. Like, that was something that I had to come to realize, and I share in my story. But belief is built on information, whether it's info, details, facts, or people's stories, people's experiences, right? I think experiences pique interest and it makes people want to know more. But so they say, facts tell, but stories sell. It's true, but those facts are what build the belief that will keep them on the product. You can't skip both. You can't have just one or the other. It needs to be paired together, the story and the facts about it, because you heard stories that night, but your belief was further built by the facts in that, that CD, that audio that you heard that further deepened your belief in it. And then you add your own experience on top of that, right? So think about our customers who heard our story, heard other stories. They've been on Juice Plus. Have they been educated? I know just from experience, if I have customers that never come to an event, they're canceling. They will cancel. It is very hard to keep them on Juice Plus if they won't plug in at all. And even if I send them a video, like, I don't think that they're watching it. Their belief is not going to be strong enough to hold the weight of the price point when something comes into their budget that nudges it out of the way. Some crisis, some, it's not even a crisis, but like, something comes up and, oh, that's an easy one to get out of the budget. Their belief has to be so strong that it will hold the weight of that. And that's why we all stay on Juice Plus for years, because our belief is there. So Marcia, I think that's really an important aspect for us to remember when we're getting new team members started, is to make sure, and customers, that we're further educating them. It's not just, I bought the product or I signed up, oh good, we're done and we move on, especially with this new reset. I mean, I've got customers coming back, they haven't been taking Juice Plus for 5 years or more, and they're coming back. That's beautiful. Like, I love that. They've had value in it. They just haven't made the step forward, but we can't leave them there. We've got to further that education, because that belief getting solidified is what will keep them on it longer than in 4 months they cancel because they're not getting more free stuff, right?
Right.
And so we've got to build their belief in the beginning to where they will take it. If they don't take it, they don't have an experience. And so we got to make sure we're really working with them and not just celebrate the win of the customer and move on. I mean, I realized that there's quite a few new customers I got this week. I haven't added them to a Facebook group. I haven't sent them a video past like my board's welcome to Juice Plus. I haven't had a conversation with these new guys of like, where are you going to keep your Juice Plus? What's your routine going to be? It's sort of that hand holding, but that's true with our team members too. If they have no belief, if their belief is weak, we have to be that belief with them. And that's why we say, get your new people in front of you as the confidence. You have more confidence than that newer person. That newer person's probably gonna have more excitement. So their excitement paired with your confidence, that's where you guys can really get some traction and getting some orders together. So Lisa,
Yeah.
what you got? Oh, you want to say something else, Marcia? Go ahead.
I wanted to ask, and maybe we'll table this for later, but I just wanted to ask about the survey that we have access to. How many are using that to build belief, and when are you using it?
I thought of that survey last night. That's funny that you brought that up, Marcia, because a lot of these, I think, same thing. We don't want just orders because they're getting free product. It's easy to say, oh, okay, they ordered Juice Plus again because they want the free product, which is true. But there's something else. There's some reason that they're saying there's something they're looking for. They've got a health issue that they're wanting to work on or prevent. We want to dig in with them and find out what that is so that we can further educate them, send them another video. That survey is an excellent way to just get some, information to them. I was thinking there's like 5 new mamas that have ordered this month. I don't know them. They are local to me. I was like, okay, what if I invited them for coffee and I had that survey and we just went over it and discussed it together? Like, what are they looking for? What are they hoping to get out of this? That helps give us, we can help give them realistic expectations, but it gives us direction on how to educate to build that belief. So I think that's a great question, Marcia. Let's go to Lisa. If anyone else wants to chime into Marcia's answer, if you are using that, that would be great. Lisa, go ahead, and then Tap, I'll come back to you.
Okay, I'll come quickly. So I was blessed to have Dr. Rachel Smart and Dr. Phillips come to Utah this week, and you said 2 things. One of the things is I invited a customer who I wasn't positive. I kept kind of find her that had recently ended her subscription, and she came, which was great. So after I asked her just the question of, what was your biggest takeaway? What did really inspired you? And so she said it brought back my reason why I bought the Juice Plus in the first place. And she was a lead, so I didn't really know a lot about her. I hadn't done a great job. And so I got an opportunity to ask her that. And so she ended up buying the promotion right then. I said, why don't we just do it right now? Because I asked her if she wanted to do it, and she said yes. I said, let's just make sure you can do it. You haven't activated your account and all that. And then I had an opportunity to ask her, which is something I'll be following up with her today or tomorrow, is what about your husband? And can you see how he could benefit? And she said, yes, but I'll have to talk to him about the money, this and that. So anyway, it just gave me that opportunity because it goes back to.
You're muted, Lisa.
I'm not sure how I got muted. And secondly, just back to, you said something, you were talking originally about just our voice inflection. And at Saturday morning, they did a breakfast event type thing, and both doctors were there. And one of the people who was there started bringing up the pyramid piece, aren't you MLL? And it was so cool to watch. And I mean, it was weird because I was watching him, and he was still sitting back in his chair, and he just addressed it very calmly. And that was cool to watch. And then Rachel stepped in after and brought in, well, we're really for 4 things. And so she brought that whole piece in it. And it was so nice to just watch somebody else and how they came about doing it. So it comes back to what you were saying about your voice inflection. And he didn't change a beat. He just stayed calm. And she's got a calm voice anyway, but she just explained the four pieces of our business. So it was really cool to watch.
So their confidence transferred to you, even just hearing them answer it, right? Just how they did. I like what you said. When she came to the event, you asked her, what was your biggest takeaway? I think I love that question way more than, hey, what did you like? I'm so glad you came. Even what stood out to you. I like that. What was your biggest takeaway? I mean, that's a great follow-up that you could do on a video with someone, a live Zoom, just assuming that they, zoomed into the event, and asking them, what was your biggest takeaway on that? I really like that. Thank you, Lisa. Okay,
That
Tap,
came from
what
my
you got?
upline years ago.
Yeah, it's a good one. Tap, did you want to add something?
Yes, what survey are y'all talking about?
Say that again. What?
What survey are you talking about?
So it was years ago. I forget what they called it, but if they filled out a health survey and turned it in at the end of 4 months, they got a free bottle of something. Marcia, can you find that survey and put it in our Voxer chat? And then
Yes,
maybe
ma'am.
put the link
Yeah,
there.
it's on boards and I will send it. And there's no I mean, I've never given an incentive for doing that, but I just start reaching out and asking them and giving them like a heads up ahead of time before I'm going to do it. It's like, I really want to hear more about your experience. Can we, in a couple of days, can we set up a call to talk about this? And then there's a list of questions, but I'll find it and I'll post it in the chat, in the Voxer chat.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Yeah, and Sharon Farrar put something in the chat too, so that's great. Thank you, Sharon. Yeah, great input, guys. Anyone else want to share? Anything else? Anyone want to add into that? So for those of you that joined us a little bit late, we were talking about the inflection at the end of your answer if somebody asks you a question. So you want to make sure you're answering with confidence, a statement, and not answering with the statement sounding like a question. It's fine to ask a question, a clarifying question to get more information, but you don't want your answer that's a statement to sound like a question at the end with your voice going up and versus your voice going, steady. So a confident answer states the answer without inviting doubt in a subtle way, like Tap said, by the inflection changing at the end of that question. So watch your own tone of voice. You guys watch that with new partners. I mean, if you hear them say that, that's a clue to you as a leader. Okay, that's a little bit of an area we need to dig in with them. And that's a place that I can help, guide information to them to build that belief. And that's an area they need some help with. So I think it can be sort of a clue for us. I do think it could lend to a lot of conversations, a lot of different areas of life, and not just within our business, but listen for your customers' answers to be a question at the end. That would show the doubt that they have, maybe doubt in themselves, or that they're really in the right direction, or whatever. So just kind of tune into that. I'm curious if you guys hear that. If anything comes up this week, definitely share it in the Voxer chat, and we'll see how that goes. We'll keep looking in case that link isn't working, and put it into the other chat. Anyone else, any other things you want to add?
Stacy, I'll just add, am I muted? I'm probably muted.
No,
Hold
you're
on.
good. You're fine.
Okay. I'll just add that customer profile that I posted in the chat as well. It has a subset of questions at the bottom of that is part of the survey. But the best foundation, I shouldn't say best necessarily. I just said best was education, but one part of it of customer care is building on what they want to see. So you ask those questions. What is it that you want to see improve in your health? What are the top 3 things you want to see improve in your health? And and write it down on that survey so that you've got it as a record and you can go back to it as part of your customer care. And then some of those questions are at the bottom that you can use when you're calling and talking to them live.
Yes. Yeah. Because we can think we know the answer of why they should order Juice Plus and why they're taking it. We can either gather information from the conversation and think we know it, but that might not be what they end result are looking for. They don't see those results as quick, as fast as they want, and then they stop taking it. And, stop taking it, you're really not going to see results, and then you end up with canceled customer. So I think that's a great one. It's funny, Marcia, I was just thinking about that last night. So great that you reminded us. Peggy, did you want to add anything?
Yes, there are times when you really don't know the answer. And when you're honest about it, you come across much more authentically rather than allowing that doubt and trying to guess at what the answer is. And you just say, that's a great question and I can't remember the answer. So let me get back to you. Or wait a second, let me look that up. I want to be accurate.
Right.
So
you don't want to confidently give the wrong answer. Where you're like, it's okay to say, great question. That's such a good question. I'm fairly new at this, or, I really don't know. I've heard about that. It interests me too. Let me dig in a little bit, and then I'm going to share what I learned with you. What have you learned about that? What do you know? Leaning back into the conversation with them. But that's a great reminder, Peggy. We don't have to, if you don't know the answer, you don't know the answer. Don't fake it. Just confidently state, I don't know, but I will find out. That's great.
Yeah.
You
Tab?
gain so much credibility by not knowing.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
But you're also being a role model for becoming a future distributor or partner.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
it's more attractive to people because they realize you're like them.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
They lost
Peggy,
their keys this morning too.
yeah, right. Peggy, expand on that a little bit for us. When you're saying like you're being the example to that new, or to them as a possible partner. Give us a little more detail on that.
Well, anytime you come across as knowing it all, people are saying, oops, I could never learn all that. And when you're saying that I have a place to look that up or a person that I can ask, then you're more relatable. And people can picture doing the same.
And
it's the old when when you vomit all over somebody with information, you're really saying, look how much I know, you'll never know as much as me.
yeah. And it gives them confidence that they'll be able to find the answers that they won't know the answers to. They'll have the resources to be able to help them find those answers. So that's really great. You guys are so smart. Look at all of
Stacy,
us.
can I
Yes, go ahead, Mercedes.
can I just add? So this was my personal experience. I've been in the business for 20 some years now. I've lost track, but in the very beginning, it took me, I guess, maybe, I don't know, 6-7 years to get over the fact that my first presentation that I went to was so incredibly, like, they were so perfect and so amazing. I kept telling myself I could never do that. I could never do that. And I believed that. I really did. And it took a long, long time. And even still to this day, I get intimidated by, how professional some of these reps are. And I just cower. I'm like, I could never do. I still, I have to keep telling myself, I have done it. I've stuck around for 20 some years. I can do it, but it is very intimidating. So I love that you brought that up. Is it Peggy? Not just in our answers, but as we model for our team. And one of the greatest compliments I just got, which I'm still like emotional about, is one of my team members said, you are one of the best leaders out there. And she said, and you don't even know it. And she's right, because I don't consider myself one of the best at all. But the fact that somebody recognized that after all this, after that lack of self-confidence, is that's what keeps me going. So thank you for being here and for all of this and all that you share. I don't say a lot because I really love learning from all of you, but once in a while I feel like I need to just add a little something that hopefully will be of value.
Yes, we're so grateful that you did, Mercedes. It's so great to hear your perspective. We
Thank you.
appreciate that. So, yeah. And you know, it's also something we have to be careful that we don't compare our beginning to somebody else's middle or to their end, right? Like somebody will say, you know, Stacy, you do such a great presentation. I could never do that. And I'm like, but you didn't see my first one. It was terrible. Like it was so bad. And I still got orders from that. But that, you know, years of doing it, years of practice, I can speak in front of a group now and I have to catch my mind. I will be thinking of other things and my mouth is still talking and doing the presentation. I've done it so many times and I will like cognitively tell myself, you pay attention, Stace. You're going to end up saying what you're thinking. Like it's so automatic now. So it's practice. It's doing it that gets it good. You know, those people who ever presented that night that were like fantastic, I promise they had done a lot of work to get to that point, but we have to be careful. We don't compare our beginning or our middle to somebody else's end. You know, that's just not fair to ourselves. And make sure that we remind our new team members that too. But thank you, Mercedes. All right, guys, we're at 30 minutes. Thank you for joining us. Anyone else? I know Sharon's going to be at Peachtree. Sharon, that's going to be exciting to see each other this weekend. Marcia, are you going? She is. Her hand is up. Awesome. Yay, it's going to be great. I'll be training and it's going to be fun. Sharon's ready. All right, guys. Thank you all. Have a great day and share anything you guys did in this chat in our Voxer chat so we have it as well. Bye,
Thank you.